First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting me to speak on Ashulin sites in Maharashtra. The topic I was given was Ashulin sites of Maharashtra. So I thought I had to present a review type of thing on Ashulin and slightly on my work. So I had made my presentation like that, but I'll like to skip the earlier part quickly and try to talk on my work as such, because I think most part has been covered in the morning. So firstly, I would like to dedicate this presentation to both the stalwarts. I think they both are the teachers and gurus of all of us, Professor S.N. Rajguru and Dr. R.S. Pappu. Luckily, this is the week in which both of them were born. Pappu sir was born on 18th November and Rajguru sir was born on 26th November. So perfect timing to dedicate this presentation, and we have lost both of them. So this will be a good tribute to both of them. Both of them have worked their lives in this region. So I'd like to pay my tributes to them. So I skipped this slide, I think, because everybody knows what is Ashulian background of it. Is the longest surviving lower Paleolithic culture all over world and in Maharashtra as well. So site of Saint Ashul, from where it was discovered, it is found in Africa, Europe, Asia. Everyone knows that technologically, broadly it is everywhere similar. Large flakes were preferred in all the regions. Various type of raw materials were exploited. And common tool types are cleavers, hand axes, picks, scrapers, knives, cores, etc. Associated human species are, in Indian context, we hardly have any fossil remains, but in the world we know that Homo erectus, Homo heidelbergensis were the common human species at that time. So what are the basic research point of views in upland Deccan? That's what I like to look at it in this way. That earliest suggestion was that in this region, basalt region, the basalt was suggested as an unsuitable raw material. So without doing much survey, it was suggested that this region was not occupied by early hominins. So at that time it was okay. Later on in the research started in this region, particularly about Ashulin from 1940s around that time, especially inside of Gangapur. So we are very close to that site. So that is a good thing, which we'll be visiting day after tomorrow. So Dr. Sankalia and his team and that work started. So this work in 1940s gave a beginning that earlier suggestion of not having hominins in this region is incorrect. Partial refutation was done, and moreover from onwards surveys in Pravra Basin in other regions also it confirmed. Then one model by Professor Korisetter about Purana Basin occupations and core zone, peripheral zone. So in upland Deccan also specific regions are only having concentration of Ashulin sites. So is it really that way, or we have missed, or we have not done surveys all over? That is the reason. So that has to be looked into. And in 1980s, especially in 1980s, three important discoveries were made. Site of Bori, Morgaon and Yadurwadi. Yadurwadi is politically is in Karnataka state, but it is just beyond boundary of Maharashtra. So I am considering this site also. So these three important discoveries were turning points for the Ashulin studies in upland Deccan Maharashtra region. Particularly Bori and Morgaon have tephra also associated with Ashulin. So both these sites have tephra. Now I won't go into the controversies of those dates and all, but certainly those are Ashulin sites. So at least Ashulin is certainly older. Tephra, I don't know what exactly that date was, because various dates are there. So what issues we look into this region? We have to acknowledge some issues and we have to address some issues. So these kinds of issues I have pointed out. There must be more issues also. So what is basic problem is the difficulty of identification of artifacts in certain regions. Particular regions we know there are artifacts, there are typical cleavers, hand axes, typical tools. So certain areas there are some problems which I tried to address in some areas. Then this common understanding that there is absence of older sediments. In many of the river valleys, it has been said that only late Pleistocene or post-late Pleistocene sediments are there, and early or middle Pleistocene sediments where we possibly could get some Ashulin artifacts are not present. So is it really like that, or we are missing something? So that has to be looked into and acknowledged. Then survey bias, I am not like blaming anyone, but we survey in some limited areas, or we survey in some specific pockets. So we have to widen our scale, and we have to do large scale surveys in various river valleys to understand what was happening in upland Deccan during the Ashulin cultural phase. And there is another prejudice that don't go here, you will not find anything. Don't go in this river valley, you will not find anything. So that kind of thing, mentality we have to avoid. We have to logically survey everywhere. We have to see what is there, and then we can come to some conclusion or some inference. Then even new surveys, I know there are financial crises. That is one of the major reasons that why no new surveys are going on, and re-investigations are also very limited. So partially maybe we can plan something that create some fund from our own pocket and do some surveys and continue this work. Even in small way, it can be done. Then over the world now, perspectives about Paleolithic cultures have changed. Even in upland Deccan or peninsular India, we have now different scenarios coming, like Parasat, what about Koroshi. Now we have some different thing coming up. Similarly, in different parts of India, different tool types, different raw material exploitation is now coming up. So we have to look in different way also. Different models have been proposed, different environmental situations and raw material determinism problems have been also suggested. We have to address them, look into that, acknowledge them. And one important thing is about each region has its unique challenges. So within the region, like upland Deccan, if you consider one unit, within that also there are some different river valleys. So we have to acknowledge that and work accordingly into each river valley separately, looking into that. And it cannot be compared, like this region cannot be compared with Narmada Valley or Kaladgi Basin. Different environmental situation, different geomorphological situation. So we have to look into our area in a different manner. So like that's what I was saying, that one is Gangapur, 2 is Pravara Valley, so Cherokee Nevasa, that region, 4 is Bori, 5 is Morgaon, 6 is that Yadurwadi just outside Maharashtra, 7 is that Upper Krishna Basin where I have worked for my PhD, and 8 is that Upper Sinha Basin, which again I have worked last year for my Bhandarkar Institute Infosys Foundation project, small fellowship project. So this is again showing that concentration of in this region. Why the concentration is there? Because in other areas not much survey has been done. So that could be one of the reasons. If you survey in other areas, this circle might expand also. So for now, this is the circle where concentration of sites is there. So I think Gangapur and all, I think I'll skip, I'll not go into details. So this was the one of the largest section in Gangapur. Now I think it is not there. It has been washed out due to floods. I think Mihir has told me that this section has been washed away, or some part of it has been washed away. And artifacts like these were buried in this gravel. So this site has been worked upon by R.V. Joshi, Sankalia sir, Professor Rajguru, and lots of others. Arun Kumar also had worked on this. So various interpretations were given. Earliest times it was studies had showed that this was an late Pleistocene, early late Pleistocene site, but now convincingly over the years it's when we established that it is a early middle Pleistocene site. So this kind of composite stratigraphy was done, cross sections were drawn, and various geomorphological observations were made. Artifacts were basically coming out from this coarse cobbly pebbly gravel with it has mud balls and there is absence of calcrete. So environmental interpretations have also been done that slightly wet semi-arid kind of environment was there. So these are the common tool types found. Most of the collection is with ASAP registry branch in Nagpur, cleavers and number of other hand axes. The assemblage is dominated by cleavers in tool category. When coming to Lakshmi Nala, again in this Pravara area has been worked by Professor Sankalia, Dr. Corvinus, and others also, Rajguru sir, Papu sir also had worked, and number of works have been carried out. I think Akash Pandey will be talking about some assemblies from Lakshmi Nala. Number of other localities have been reported in this Pravara Valley. Cherokee was one of the important excavations by Corvinus, and it was established that this was occupied number of times. Reoccupation of this same locality was done, and thousands of artifacts were collected from this. So this again has been dated by uranium thorium method also at Lakshmi Nala, and paleomagnetic studies also carried out by Lakshmi Nala. So confirmably this site is most probably of late early Pleistocene and continuing into the middle Pleistocene. So this is just to show some photographs of Lakshmi Nala. Those two are basically, now it is so hardened sediment of silty or cobbly pebbly gravel, which is very hardened by calcrete, and artifacts like these are coming out from this. Limited number of artifacts are found from this gravel, but this is a very important locality. This kind of dry bed is found in the Pravara at Lakshmi Nala, where Lakshmi Nala meets Pravara near Nevasa, and such kind of artifacts along with some fossils. Also now again this is a mixture of fossils and artifacts, so you cannot date as such what are there. Then these kinds of tools are there from Lakshmi Nala and other localities near Nevasa. This is some of the photographs, older photographs of from Corvinus report, this Cherokee excavation reports, and what kind of tools were collected, and what there was some pattern. Occupation floor was also identified, and number of fossil woods and a number of fossils were also collected. An excellent report was published. Now, again, I'll skip this because I think Sheila ma'am, they ma'am both have talked about this. Just to show some photographs, 10 localities with tephra, and that tusk was also noted from this gravel, and this conglomerate was exposed by Vishwas Kaya and his team, and this map was prepared by them with pointed, they had pointed these artifacts and collections. So fresh artifacts showed that this site is semi-primary, it is not a secondary site. The tephra problem I will not go into. So typical tools from Bori, these peaks and then small flakes and elongated flakes, which are most probably debitage, and some small flakes also. These are also, you can see, very fresh. So this suggests that they have not been transported from the channel. So now again Morgaon, I will not talk because has been talked in the morning. So general photographs of Morgaon and some recent collections of 2018. So excavated trench and number of artifacts as well as non-artifact component, large Kombeya cores and hand axis cleavers, very common giant boulders are there available, which have been exploited to make large flake tools, and typical large flake, probable so-called early Acheulean we can call, kind of artifacts are there from Morgaon. So at Morgaon again, the tephra is capping the artifact bearing horizon, and that tephra has been dated to around 8 lakh years. So, and artifacts are below that. So logically speaking, artifacts should be older than that. Now again, tephra has been dated otherwise also, and it has been dated to 75,000 also. So tephra is very controversial issue. I don't want to go into that, but artifacts are certainly quite older. They cannot be associated with 74,000 thing. And then upper deposit sandy pebbly gravels, we have microblades or microliths along with some fossils. Sartesser has reported some equus fossils and dated to about 26,000 something. Now, coming to my work in Upper Krishna Basin, so Pappu sir had worked in this Upper Krishna region for his PhD, and mostly he worked in the Kalavgi Basin. After surveying the upper part of basaltic region, he suggested that this region was sporadically occupied by the early hominins, because he found 2-3 localities with only 6-7 artifacts, that also from secondary gravel context. So, but he confirmed that there was some hominin occupation, early hominin presence in this region, which was earlier not reported. So this heavy rainfall region with dense vegetation also was occupied by the early hominins very sporadically as compared to Kalavgi Basin. So I wanted to confirm if that is really the situation or we have missed something. Yedurwadi was a special marker. We knew that a good site with more around 100 proper occupation sites. So what was there above upper reaches of Krishna Basin. So another site of Nisri was reported earlier. It was visited by number of scholars. Luckily it was presented by me in my dissertation and published later on. So these kinds of tools, only 3 artifacts have been collected. So basically this is a secondary channel deposit, and it is an older gravel which has been capping the bedrock, and artifacts were collected from these upper high level gravel. Now again, Yedurwadi has been worked by Professor Kale and his team, and the calcium carbonate was dated to more than 350,000 at that time in 1993. And it has some unique features. It has a calcareous tusk, again calcareous tree trunk was also available, and tools, hand axes are there, cleavers are there, and then small flake element is also available at this site. One quartzite artifact is also reported from this site. So it was shown, it has been confirmed that some hominin movement was also observed at this site. Now this has been dated to more than 350,000. So broadly we can say it is a middle Pleistocene site. Then redeposition was also happening at this site. So another date is of around 80,000, from where also Acheulean artifacts were collected. So redeposition has also happened at that. Some tools were redeposited. Now during my PhD I could identify a number of localities, around 8 to 10 localities, although most of them are a secondary gravel context, but that certainly shows that most of the older deposit was there, now it is in the channel. So that is the reworked gravel, we can say. It is a mixture of older and younger gravel, so lots of localities are coming up. So this is a very common context from where these such kind of channel bars, and this thickness of these channel bars vary at different places from 1 meter to 2 meter. These are not consolidated. From these we can found artifacts on the surface, so certainly they will be also buried in buried context. But excavation of a such gravel bar is very difficult, but artifacts must be there in that because they have been exposed in recent times. So now this conglomerate has been observed at site of Atit Brescia conglomerate. So these kinds of large flakes have been collected from this conglomerate. So again at Atit, cobbly rubble context was also found. So we can see from this cobbly rubble context basically artifacts are getting eroded and getting deposited into the channel gravel. So above this it might be some buried artifacts or buried occupation space might be there. So early hominin presence is quite common. Now coming to site of Menavli, which is very famous for its temple and ghat, which is always used, shown in some of the movies and serials and advertisements. So this site also has given evidence of cemented conglomerate, and from this artifacts were collected from that, those core and flakes were collected, and this again is getting eroded and the channel deposit shows those artifacts. So more than 80 artifacts were collected in the exploration. So lots of artifacts are still there. So large boulders and giant cores. So obviously when there are large flakes, they have been removed from some large boulders and cores. So these kinds of boulders and cores are available in this region. So this is just to show general type of tools commonly available in this upper Krishna basin during last 5 years what I have done. So coming to the Sinha basin now, Shivaji Kshirosagar, Sabri sir and that team, they had worked in upper Sinha basin for another purposes. So during that exploration they could find 3 artifacts from 3 localities, and that's why I wanted to see that how can only 3 artifacts could be found, and was that so limited occupation of early hominins that only few artifacts. So some reasons were cited that was early hominin movement or tool carrying capacity discard pattern, or another reason could be geological reason, that sorting, natural sorting, or those kind of reasons. So I wanted to see, so I had put up this project for Infosys Foundation in Bori Bhandarkar Institute. So just to show general photographs of what is the situation during summers and rainy season. So you can see some very shrubby or thorny environment and very limited vegetation at present. Earlier times also the situation was not drastically different. Slightly better conditions might have been there. You can see water pools or dry clay beds are there presently. Earlier times also water might have been retained in some specific pockets. So occupations might have been limited to these pockets, and seasonal occupations would have been there. And this kind of gravel is very limited in presence in the Sinha basin at various locations. So largely bedrock is also exposed at many times. Then you can see that gravel has been quarried or dug up for various purposes for water retention. So lots of gravel has been exposed and artifacts have been coming out from this buried gravel. So basically thick gravel deposits were there and they are spread around horizontally. So it is a mixture of older gravel and obviously younger gravel has also been deposited. So artifacts were collected from this older and younger mixed gravel deposit. So these kinds of artifacts, scraper, some cleaver, some pointed picks were collected. Another just to show the thickness of the gravel and which has been exposed. Now this right corner photo shows that the older gravel has been dug up and piled up on the bank. So the older deposit is now technically on the top. So it is a reverse stratigraphy because of the modern situation. So these kinds of artifacts, again cleavers and some scrapers were found. So just to show what kind of artifacts were found, some normal simple flakes were also there, but these are the tool types and LCTs and cleavers and picks were found from this Sinha basin. So another interesting area which Pratik mentioned about, and Sathe sir has worked extensively for the paleontological part and fossil evidence from the Manjara basin. So earliest work in the Manjara valley was carried out by Dr. R.V. Joshi and his team. One UGC project was there, and upper reaches. Now commonly upper reaches are famous for its fossil fauna, along with that time it was Mesolithic, we can call them microlithic evidence. So that time lots of microlithic sites and fossils were reported from that red circle which I have marked, the upper Manjara basin. And middle and lower reaches of the Manjara, you can see on the right side, have given good evidence of Middle Paleolithic. That time it was called as Middle Paleolithic siliceous material artifacts, scrapers and all. So that paper is good, very nice paper. So you can see that things in that paper. Now fossils have been recently also dated. Earlier also they were dated relatively also to late Pleistocene period. So this region with late Pleistocene fossils is very common, and sporadic presence of late artifacts on basalt was published by Dr. Sathe. So I'll show that photograph also. So my work was a very limited survey to just go around at localities of fossils to look for Paleolithic markers if there are any. So to understand the context of the Paleolithic affiliations. So again, referring to that R.V. Joshi sir's paper, et al. Paper, they have shown one buried gravel. Now, extensively in Manjara Valley, what has happened due to this is a drought-prone region. So this region in 2017-18, lots of channel widening and channel deepening took place. So lots of gravel deposits, which probably was buried, has been exposed now. So that has been quarried and removed to deepen the channel or widen the channel for more water retention. Lots of check bunds and dams have been built up. So in different locations where dams and check bunds are there, water is retained in lots of spots, and there are some spots where there will be no water at all. So this gravel has been exposed. So we have to look into wherever it is possible, where dry beds are there. So this gravel has come up on the surface, and we can find some artifacts from there. So this Pratik has already told, lots of fossils with dates and all are coming up. So always I used to think that only animals were occupying this region and there were no humans. So is this really possible? So I wanted to look a small scale survey to just to see what. So this kind of, that's what I was mentioning about the exposed gravel. So this gravel which was probably buried that time, which was not exposed, now is exposed on the surface, and such kind of artifacts have been collected. All the artifacts are on basalt. So that are the top 3 artifacts which Professor Sathe had reported in 2014. There was no mention about from where these artifacts were collected, but they are basalt artifacts, and with a question mark they were claimed as Acheulean, as a flake, blade and knife, but there was no scale as such, so I cannot comment on what is the size of those artifacts and really what are the artifacts. But the bottom one and the right ones, I have collected some samples. So these kinds of large flake cleavers and some pointed tools, and then you can see these tanged or notched kind of tools. So these are not proper points as such, they are notches are there, tangs are there, and scraping type of edges are there. So this is slightly newer kind of work which has been I am trying to do in this basaltic region. So this is one of that example. So to some more work is going on in Man River Valley also. I will not show that because that is still very preliminary stage. Now, what is the summary? Already Sheila ma'am, Dev ma'am has already talked about this. The summary is that upland Deccan was occupied by the early hominins, at least from the late early Pleistocene and middle Pleistocene. Now, the scale of their occupation has to be looked into. So, only the main areas where already lots of work has been carried out. So, trying to move away from these areas also can give up more understanding of this Acheulean culture. Now, locally available rocks, basalt and dolerite dike, wherever it is available, has been used for making tools, mostly large flake tools, and obviously you'll find some debitage and small flakes at some of the locations, not everywhere, especially in secondary context, it is hardly very difficult. Now, local variations have also been noticed in different sites, so site-specific tools are also there, like at Bori, that pick type of tool has been there, so local variations are also observed, but broadly the similar technology is there, which is world over Acheulean के लिए similar technology. Now chopper or core tools are very less in this basaltic region. Another feature which is observed is minimal secondary flaking. Now basalt has typical some features, so that also has to be considered for further work. Now environment was broadly sub-humid or wet, semi-arid and semi-arid. So in different areas, different environmental situations were there, and time period wise also environmental situation has changed. So but broadly early hominins occupied this zone during these type of environmental situations. And a spatial distribution of Acheulean is still not very clear. Lots of area has been worked, so that is clear, but lots of areas still remaining, like Marathwada region, northern Maharashtra region, southern Maharashtra region, Vidarbha region. So lots of things are still pending. And from Acheulean to Middle Paleolithic transition, especially in basaltic region, Vidarbha region and Konkan region, there are different raw materials available. But core basalt region, what is the situation? So earlier it has been suggested that siliceous material, Middle Paleolithic is on siliceous material. So earlier in Tapi Basin, 2-3 sites on basalt, and Sheila ma'am and Savita Ghate ma'am had reported one site of Ranjani on dolerite dike of Middle Paleolithic. So basalt or dolerite has been used for Middle Paleolithic, but probably sporadically. So we'll try to has to be looked into. To what was the basically small scale studies have been carried out by me last 7-8 years. 2 river valleys, that Upper Krishna Basin and Sina River Valley. Now Acheulean culture is certainly established there, and more studies can be carried out, geomorphological, geoarchaeological studies can be carried out. Now, Manjara River Valley again has to be taken up for understanding the Paleolithic situation, what was their late Acheulean to early Middle Paleolithic, because those tools are not typical Acheulean. And Middle Paleolithic in basalt is almost absent, so we don't know exactly what is there. But these tang points, tang tools, and some cleavers has to be looked into. Obviously, they are in secondary context, but they could be looked into. Now, channel gravels are basically best fluvial archives for our understanding. Now, this horizontal deposition of gravels is quite common, reworking, mixing of artifacts is common. Vertical presence of gravels, older gravels, is limited. That is a fact. Now, absence of older sediments, is it really? So, not really. Assembly, like older gravel is there, but it is spread out in commonly in the channel gravels. And role context. So sites are, most of the sites which I have shown now are secondary context. I acknowledge that, I know that, but they are important to understand the spatial distribution of early hominins, especially in upland Deccan region. Hominin behavior technologically or on the basis of tools we can somewhat reconstruct. Formation processes can be understood, and lots of other work can be carried out at number of these localities and more areas also. Identifying artifacts of basalt in homogeneous gravel is a really very difficult task, and that is the reason why limited sites have been reported over the years. So that training will be improved on larger scale. Artifacts on basalt are not very typical, like I mentioned. Secondary flaking is majority times minimal. Bulb of percussion is diffused or absent. So these things make it difficult to understand the artifacts. Now these work, small scale work or whatever, last 7-8 years shows the importance of regional survey, especially in this region, because this region is an important region, because we have Narmada Basin in the north, we have Kalagi Basin in the south, Hunski Bajbal Valley in the south, and Atinampakkam we have in the south. So lots of rich areas, but upland Deccan, what was the situation? So basalt cannot be the reason that these hominins were not occupying this region. So we have to look and reinvestigate. So simply speaking, more the sites, more the scope to understand Paleolithic culture and also other processes. Basalt was certainly widely exploited for making artifacts by the early hominins. Artifacts are preserved, albeit in the secondary context, river gravel. So we have to look them in different way. There will be some sites maybe in semi-primary or buried context. So if we are lucky enough, we can find someday. So thank you. I'd like to thank the organizers.
So this is the last presentation, and one or two questions are allowed. Yes, Dr. Parth. Yes, sure.
So just a comment about the uranium thorium dates. That's, if those sites, if there are any sites which only have uranium thorium dates and without paleomag, I think we should be a bit cautious about those dates. Because 16 Ardun, it was also dated in the same way, and then luminescence dates made it younger. So we should be a bit cautious about that.
Yeah, I am very cautious. I just mentioned what the dates have been given. So obviously there is scope to do more work and confirm the dates. But for now, these are the dates. So, and on the basis of tools also, we can certainly say that they are slightly older, not very younger.
And I agree with you that we should be more open-minded about the brackets, Middle Pleistocene and Late Pleistocene. I agree with that.
And again to say that Yedurwadi or majority sites now, the local situation has so much changed. So this site, almost I think I would say 11 months it is underwater. So hardly anything can be done. So reinvestigations at such sites also, this most of the rivers now, whoever is from Maharashtra knows, majority rivers are basically dug up for various purposes, gravel mining, sand quarrying, lots of other reasons, like for widening. So obviously people are living, so water is required. So they will widen the channel. So it hampers our problem, but it also gives some evidence for us. So those artifacts from Manjara specifically, most of them might have been buried, recently exposed.
See, Dr. Parth, we all are aware about the dating techniques and those numbers, what we get from these methods. So, but you should understand that in a region where the dates are not that easily available, we tried a lot, but there are no dates available. So, being in a Deccan Trap region, so Sheila can comment more on that. So we are trying our best.
Yeah. Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with your talk, because you have adjusted to the way the rivers are today.
Yes, we have to.
That means you cannot do the work in the same way as we did the work. So what you are seeing, which is the little bit difficult part, is now you're seeing the things in the modern channel. And I agree with you, those are old. Now the only thing, please Jayendra, our work at Durkadi showed probably it's a modern building
Yeah.
material.
No,
And
ma'am.
just
Yeah,
let me finish.
finish.
And the most diagnostic thing was 90-degree platform. So I would not argue that something in a proper geological context with 90-degree platform is, if it's in a good context, accepted. But now you're looking at this little bit dubious context. So whatever I could see from your slides, most of it was very, I would definitely agree that this is a Acheulean, and this is, you're seeing it in places that nobody saw it earlier, because these things are getting disturbed today. And you are at least making the effort to go and find them. So like what Shivaji had found, those were from the dug
well.
so they were from the, they're as good as the context was so good, you know, even if the site is not good. Now what you are seeing is that dug well material is dumped in the river back, you know, and got mixed. In some cases, that's what you're saying.
No, the older gravel itself from the river has been dug up. Now again,
It's
what we said,
exposed in the
modern flakes. I have lots of collection of modern flakes, but obviously I will not show them. I have collection 90-degree. What you are saying,
so
for
least,
construction.
at least this
These are
90,
there.
at least don't accept anything that has 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
Doing that, okay.
Yeah,
then I have no
and
problem.
even ma'am, the freshness is
That
clearly
the-
visible. The freshness of those
that
flakes,
is the,
modern flakes, is easily understandable that it is very modern.
But, I mean, so I want to say that I really appreciate, you have really recovered so much, and you're really showing that basically if it's not there, it's because the context, the sediment of that age is not
Yes, right.
there. And if the sediment of that age is there but not exposed, you don't find it. So now you are looking at a period when this is getting destroyed, but also getting visible.
Exposed, yes.
So I think it's a very, I'm very
You know,
happy.
let me
with-
tell you that when we started getting artifacts,
No one
he used-
accepted it.
He used to show us, and we always have a question mark on that. But later on, when he showed us the way he has identified it, and then we worked on it, and then he also measurements were taken and all that, then we are convinced that they are definitely artifacts. It's not that, and non-artifacts, the modern flaking and other things, he is comparing with that. So we are taking utmost care about that. Thank you.
You have more destruction and more even modern building material
Yes,
in that
yes, I
context.
know that.
So you are having to deal with a whole different set of issues. Yeah. Okay, I think it's enough.
Thank you.